What is up, everybody? This is Anthony, of course, with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. It is Monday. It is October 29th, and we do have some interesting things to get into today. I actually had a plan coming into today's episode. First of all, I was going to talk about Home Sweet Home, but the good news is Steve is going to try to join us. Now, there may be some technical difficulties when we try to bring Steve aboard for a couple of minutes until we get it going. This is a last minute thing, so apologies for that. But we may have some minor technical difficulties, but we are going to try to do that. We're going to try to get Steve on the show. He's played Home Sweet Home on PlayStation VR. I've played a little bit of it. We can talk about that a little bit. And then the other thing I was going to get into today is I was going to take a look at, there's a whole bunch of Steam games there's a whole bunch of VR games that are coming to Steam that are kind of flying under the radar. And I thought we could take a look at some of these unknown games as well. So basically there were two different things I was looking to get into today, but that was before I knew Steve was going to join us. So we're going to try to get Steve up and running here. Now, the thing is, I have not had a guest since I've reloaded Windows and redone all of my OBS settings. I have not had a guest, and I haven't even had a trial with a guest, which normally, if I knew we were going to do this, I would have tried to screw around with this at a half an hour ago, make sure I had it working, and then do it. But oh well, we're going to have to do it the other way. So I am about to go to the Skype guest window, and I don't think I've added a blue snowball over there, so I don't think anybody's going to hear me. But we'll go ahead and get that set up in just a second. So let me go ahead and switch over. We'll see what happens. All right, so I just added my blue snowball mic to this scene, which I didn't have this before. And, okay, hold on a second. I got to get into Skype. I got to change one of my Skype settings because I have to switch back to my crappy webcam. And it's a way I get around one of these Skype problems by hooking up two different webcams and keeping them separate. So OBS is going to be using the 920 and Skype is going to be using the 270. So that's how I do that there. So hopefully that will work there. Okay, so go ahead, Steve. We're going to have to figure this out as we go along. Steve, if you want to go ahead and start a Skype call, a video call, and then we can see what happens. We will see what happens. So there is going to be okay, here it is. Okay, so what I will do is I will put Steve over there. Now, let's see. Can you hear me? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to add window capture, right? Okay, window capture. And, here's Skype. And then say, okay. I don't see you yet. Oops. Now I'm seeing you not in the actual not in my OBS yet, but let's see here. Window capture, okay, properties. Skype. Okay. Let's see. Well, you know what I could do to get around this? I could just... Okay. On which monitor? Okay. Okay, so I got it full screen on my other monitor. And, but it's not showing you at all here. Let's see. Okay. Windows capture. See, when I go to Windows Capture, it shows, it has a million different things showing on here, but it shows Skype three different times. Let's see. Well, there's 3 different ones I've tried. Pretty sure I've tried all 3. Let me try the first one. That's the first one. And here's the second one. See, yeah, I should have did this before the show, damn it. Okay, still not getting you at all. So, how can I do this? Well, I know I can go to... Okay. Okay, so let's say I only had one monitor, right? And I want to keep this full screen, and then switch to OBS, but it's still full screen in the background, basically. Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and add a new window capture. Okay. And Skype. Okay. Yeah, see, here's the window capture over here. Yeah, is that the problem? That's the problem. Okay. Yeah. Well, I have this. I have, if I go over here to web browser like this, I could actually just put Skype over there. But then the problem is it takes up the whole entire page. So, like, I go like this. Whoops. Let me see. I can go like this, and then you're the star of the show, Steve. But you know what? No one can hear you right now. No one can hear you. So I have to grab audio input capture. Or wait, no, audio output capture, right? If I grab audio output capture and I just grab maybe that.
Check. If
Okay,
you just normally just grab your desktop, I should come through like when you're playing trailers and such. Your desktop audio is how I normally do it.
Yeah. Okay, so check this out. Everybody in chat, I got to pop out the chat now so I can freaking let me pop out chat so I'll know what the hell's going on in chat. I can have chat like over here. Okay,
All right, they're saying they can hear me.
Let's go back. Okay, so can everybody hear Steve? So Steve sounds louder, or Steve is a little bit light? I'll turn you down just a little bit there. Okay. This is that predator look, though, that I get with you often, Steve. This is what I call the transference display.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When we're doing the episode via Roundtable, you'll often turn into this for some reason.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can add a game trailer window. Problem is, where would I put it? Okay, let's see. I can squeeze chat up a little bit like this, I guess. Yeah, guys, this is called making a show happen out of stupidity, but you know what? It works. It works for a minute. So it's a little bit of a different show. Steve, talk a little bit. Let's see if we can hear you.
I am talking a little bit. This is actually kind of nice because, with VR Roundtable, I try to be so structured and on point, and it's nice to just be loose with it a little bit.
Yeah. I can make myself like a lot bigger and stuff if I wanted to. Like I can go like this. I got that thing locked. Which one's locked? Or no. Here we go. Yeah. What I should have, though, I need to have a little game trailer window. So let's see. I think I just call that a media source. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we are about to add a game trailer window. Oops, now it's like taking all of us. Okay, let's see. What can I do with this game trailer window? I guess I'll have to put it... Oops, don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a shit show extraordinaire. But you know what? I can adapt. Chat's going to be a little bit cut off. We won't see the latest chat, but that's all right. You know what, though? I don't think I have game trailer audio. Or wait, maybe I do. Hold on. Let me move this a little bit. Okay. Okay, so game trailer audio, I don't hear it in my headphones, but I wonder if everybody else hears it.
Clara, my dear.
So people in chat, do you hear game trailer audio? Put it in top center. Yeah, I could put it right on top of Steve's head. Yes, so you guys do hear game trailer audio. Okay, so you can hear me, you can hear Steve, you can hear game trailer audio. So Steve, let's see here. What did I want to do? Now, I got you over there like that. If I'm going to put something over here. Okay, I just want to make sure I don't block everything for everybody. So I wanted to try to, okay, so now I got to put this back over. Okay, here we go. So, let's see, what was I going to get into? I was just going to ask you a question about one basic story, and then that way I can make sure we got your sound good. Just trying to see what story. Okay, well, there is a news story that I heard about, and that is this, Pixel Ripped. There's a new Nightmare bonus level that has been added to Pixel Ripped. I'm seeing this on the Steam page for Pixel Ripped. It says, don't fall asleep in class or you might have a nightmare. We want to celebrate Halloween with you, so we added an entirely new Nightmare bonus level for free. So update your game to play today. Beat this extra creepy level to win a special Gear Kid skin in-game. So that is Pixel Ripped. It's added a special little Halloween thing. I looked for a YouTube trailer that was celebrating this. I didn't happen to find one. I went to their channel, didn't find it. But what do you think about that? Like, a lot of these games are adding little Halloween modes.
It's pretty cool. It's nice. It's not it's not something that I think is a huge deal, but it's a nice little breath of fresh air into something. If it's a game that you like a whole lot, you know, get a little more out of it.
I won't let him get away with this, Papa.
I'm assuming
Promise.
it's free. Like, one thing I didn't see.
They can't hear you?
Leave me alone.
Can't hear Steve. Okay, you were really loud, so I turned you. Okay, no, keep talk. Like, why don't you just go on a rant for a second, and then we'll get your audio level right.
I'm not as good of a ranter as you are. I got to be structured. It's just the way my brain works. So hopefully.
Okay, what did you have for breakfast today, Steve? Give us a detailed report.
I had a Lara bar, or whatever they're called, little power bar, clip bar type things. I tend to just grab those and some coffee rather than eating like eggs and bacon or whatever like a lot of people do.
Trailer is too loud. Okay, so
it is quiet.
I don't hear game trailer at all. It's weird. I don't understand. Like, I need you to help me one day with OBS off air. Off air. I can have a laptop right here that's aimed at all of this, and then we could also do this and somehow figure this shit out, because I need to get my settings dialed in. But I have no idea how loud this trailer is, so I'm going to turn it down quite a bit. Trailer is too loud. Steve's morphing camouflage. No, this is Steve transference mode. We have activated transference mode. He's in between. What were the two time eras? It was like 1993 and 2016 or whatever it was. Okay, Mainpan says mute trailer. Well, I want to have a little trailer. I'll keep trailer way the hell down here then. So maybe we can okay, Steve is too low. Well, Steve's not even talking. We need him to talk.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk over you.
No, I need you to talk, man. We got to figure this out.
Nope, it just went normal color on me, so I'm good now. All right, hopefully it's not too much. Everyone's saying screw the trailer sound, so
okay,
maybe...
so fuck it. I'll just turn the damn trailer off. All right, you guys have convinced me. Turn that damn trailer off.
All right.
But I love the trailer so much, man. Okay, let me adjust the trailer window a little bit here.
Our buddy Fluke says everything seems, or that Steve seems fine now. No one's ever described me as fine, so thank you, Fluke.
Actually, you know what I can do here? I got an idea. I will figure this thing out one way or another, right? Look at this, guys. This is called live manipulation. I'll get Oh no, I can actually go up over here. Yeah, and then so this. Oh no, this thing has to be moved like this. Yeah, we'll work this out, right? This is called
Yep.
Live Action Station. This
It's
is
a
it's
extreme case of the Mondays.
OBS for beginners. But you know what? We can do this. That's why it's so nice to have a casual show that just doesn't really care too much. Steve was telling me one time he was watching some other show where like this guy was just vaping while the show was going
It was
on.
the VR spies.
Oh, okay.
I forget one, but they were doing a show, and his whole camera feed was just vape. And I'm like, man, I want to get to that level of like just not giving a shit, like and I mean it in a good way, not that like he just doesn't give a shit, but just like so cool and like just calm, being live in front of everybody. I'm not quite like that yet.
Yeah, and the other thing with that too is like if you have like a real job and stuff, sometimes you got to be careful what you're doing online. Like I'm probably saying certain things online that I may end up regretting at some point in the future. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But anyways, okay, so here we are. We've got trailer action. We got my video. We got Steve. We got audio for everybody. Okay, Steve is still too low. Okay, so I'll turn Steve up a bit. And yeah. Okay, so we're working with this. Alrighty, so let's see. What was the number one thing I wanted to get into? Well, why don't I go ahead and put Home Sweet Home in the trailer window, and we could talk a little bit about that. I barely scratched it. It is my little my YouTube thumbnail. Seems like I played Home Sweet Home for hours and know everything about it, and that is not the case. Barely scratched this thing. But Steve, why don't you start it off? Because I think you probably may have gotten a little deeper into it than I did.
Yeah, I think I got like an hour or so into it. I think it's gamepad only, so it's out on Steam, and it's been out on Steam for a while. And I think the VR patch came in early 2018, but it just wasn't aware of the game. And then they have it. They gave it to a different publisher, Mastiff Games, to bring it to PlayStation VR. And at the same time, they have this exclusivity thing where you can buy the disc version at GameStop. Why exclusively with GameStop? But whatever. This got it in the news and put the game on my radar. So it's all gamepad only. It is. It plays a little bit like maybe Transference, not as cool, not as good as Transference, but a little bit a little bit of Resident Evil sort of vibe. You walk through it. It's got pretty good production quality, I think. The game has puzzles, and it's really, I should say, it plays a lot like Alien Isolation, and that was like one of the things. You literally hide in lockers and stuff from this. Instead of it being the what do you call it, a xenomorph, instead you get the this zombie chick that wants to stab you to death. It's a pretty cool little game. Now I think it's pretty expensive on PlayStation VR. Probably maybe more than it's worth because of whatever this deal they've worked out. But
yeah, it's $30, man. It's $30
yeah.
on PlayStation VR, and I think on Steam it's like 16 or something like that.
Yep. So for $16, like the 1 hour I've spent with it, I can tell it's going to be worth it. 30, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, so I've played it and I've barely scratched it, which is, I say it all the time. It's like, go ahead, take your shots now. But what it is like, I haven't seen combat yet. Is there any? Are you just running away from things? Like, bottom line is, you just need to get the F away from danger.
It's stealth. Like, she'll let out, like if she sees you or picks up on you, she'll let out this kind of screech, and it's a good screech. It's like it has this sort of like iconic sound to it that, like, once you hear it, like, you know what it means and you know to go hide in something. So yeah, it seems to be stealth, very Alien Isolation, with some puzzles and some kind of stitching the story together through collectible things and stuff that you find.
When I first started playing it, I died over and over and over, just in that first little 2 minutes where it first starts, right? Because you go into this one room, she's turned around, and then she turns around and looks at you. She goes psycho. She's like a zombie psycho lady that is coming after you. And then you
She
go,
does the Linda Blair to you. She her body stays facing the other way and she spins her head around.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why your video goes like that. Oh, I screwed up. I accidentally got pop out chat off of there. Let me get that back. Okay. Every once in a while, your video turns into like Predator/Transference, but oh well, we'll just ignore it. But yeah, you run to that door, you open the door, and then it's all bricks, and then somehow another door shows up, and so you realize, okay, I need to go into that other door, and so I went into that other door, and then I closed that door, thinking, oh, maybe she won't be able to get into the room, and then she just opens the door, died a whole bunch of times, and then I finally realized that there's this locker there, and it says hide in locker or whatever, and that's a big part of this game. And when you do hide in the locker, one of the cool little effects that it does is like you're hiding in the locker, right? And you have to stand like really close to where the vents of the locker are. Like that's where you have to position your head. And the cool thing about that is when she comes by and is making crazy weird noises, and she's like literally inches away from you in those open slits walking by the locker.
It's just like, did you ever get that far in Alien Isolation? Because it's the exact same thing. You're looking through the slits and you see the alien go by and he's making all of his sounds. So it's very similar. And Alien Isolation is a very good game in VR, even though it's a mod. This does the same thing, and that's even though it may be copying it or whatever. It's good though. It's a good kind of imitation because it's a good feeling. It's a nice sense of suspense and fear. I think it's pretty cool. So
Yeah,
you gotta remember to turn your flashlight off. And I died on that part like 3 times. And I would get to the locker and she would open the locker door and just stab me in the face. And I think you gotta turn your flashlight off. I think that keys her into where you are.
Yeah, the very beginning of this game, like if somebody has a PlayStation VR, I think this game is crazy expensive. But let's say you played through Resident Evil, you played Don't Knock Twice, you played Paranormal Activity. There could be somebody on PSVR that is a real horror fan and they're into these kinds of games. And one of the nice things about the very beginning of the game is you're going through these hallways and you're turning on your flashlight. I played this standing up, even though it's a DualShock, right? There's no move support as far as I could see, is there?
No.
Yeah. So I was playing it standing up, and sometimes turning around, physically turning around and playing it. And I kind of got that same Resident Evil feeling, especially with the flashlight. I did kind of feel, though, at times like you're already in a VR headset, and so you already got a scuba mask thing going on. And then I felt like there was almost like an additional scuba mask, but I don't know if it was just because of the darkness and stuff.
Yeah, maybe where the flashlight shines, and it's all face aim, so like where you look is where the light shines rather than having independent control, and that makes it feel a little claustrophobic for some reason. I felt similar, but Fluke said they're over talking about Wilson's heart, and
look at this.
That's still on sale.
Steve is creeping into the window. Hello. Okay, no, what are they talking? I haven't even looked at freaking chat. Let me see. What is going on over here on chat? Okay, Paradise says, Steam have a Halloween sale starting today. Okay, yeah, we were waiting for this. We were waiting for this Steam holiday sale. And MS Can says, Wilson's Heart any good for $10? Hell yes, it is, right? I mean, it's good for...
Don't be afraid to go to YouTube and figure out what to do. There are a couple, like, very frustrating moments of you know what you need to do, but, like, what the game wants you to... How it wants to just register that you've done something can be very annoying. So be prepared to go to YouTube, but it has some very good set-piece moments that are definitely worth the $10.
Hey, since I have you here anyway, were you at all surprised, going back to the Oculus kerfuffle, the great Oculus kerfuffle of 2018, were you surprised with Sebastian, his take on the Rift 2?
A little bit, because I'm in the middle, so like I think he might be just as much as wrong as say Gary is, but I think there's something there. Like I don't think like TechCrunch, if let's just take it in that direction. Like TechCrunch is a big enough site. Like they don't have any vested interest in making up a conspiracy about Oculus. If they're gonna lie about something or really sort of embellish about something, they're gonna do it with Apple or Microsoft. Something's gonna get far more interest from their readers than an Oculus story. So I think there's some truth to it. But the problem is we don't know what it was, and he seemed to be pretty convinced. And I think it's one of those things that it did surprise me a little bit that he was so strongly convinced of it. But we'll have to see how it plans out because I personally think there's a little something there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just because I didn't think like even if you felt that way, it's kind of surprising that oh my God, Brookhaven Experiment is $4. Like just buy it now already. In fact, I might even buy this for one of my other Steam accounts just so it's like easily accessible.
You're not going to play it.
No, I love Brookhaven, man. I mean, but it scares me. Brookhaven scares me, man. The sewers. Have you played through that at all, Steve?
I never beat it. You get through the sewer, and then there's one level after it that you're like standing right outside the sewer, and I couldn't get past that. No, I did actually. No, I did. I got to the level after that. It gets kind of hard, and I struggled with it.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to look for this. Time. So there's a Steam sale going on, and I'm trying to see how do I get just the VR games that are on sale. Let's see. Oh, here's some specials over on the right-hand side. Okay, I'm just checking out. Oh, they got Assetto Corsa. The original one is $12. That's kind of decent. The Forest is $13.40. That's pretty decent. Let me see. I'll just click on see.
That would be a good one. Does anybody in chat have they invested time in The Forest? Like that seemed like such a good game, but it ran so bad when it first came out, and I haven't really gone back in there. Is it doable? Can you get it looking? Because as bad as Fallout 4 was when it first launched, The Forest was worse. In that 1 to 2 times I played it, so I'd be curious if anyone says it's worth digging back into.
Yeah. So let's see. Paradise says they have a dedicated VR horror section. But I'm looking at a sale section, and Rise of the Tomb Raider is $15. It's normally $60, and I think there's a VR mode. Or is that the one that it just has that tiny little VR section? You played it on PlayStation VR, I think.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. They forgot what it's called, but they call that extra section. They give it a name, but it's available on PC now. I remember people talking about it. I never cared.
Oh,
it wasn't
separately?
very good. Well, it's not available separately, but they refer to that portion of the game by a separate name. It's still Tomb Raider.
Okay.
But it's actually not any good. It's bad.
Okay, well that's $15, but The Forest is looking like a better deal. Let's see. So Assetto Corsa, $12, not too shabby. And Killing Floor Incursion for $9.89. Interestingly enough, this game doesn't have positive reviews on the HTC Vive. Mixed reviews for Killing Floor Incursion by Tripwire Interactive, but you can pick it up for $9. What do you think, Steve?
I think it might be people that are frustrated at the exclusivity. There's reasons to not like the game, but it's a good game. I think if you're the type of person that plays online cooperatively, it's a good game to do that with. So, what's its normal price? Is it $39?
30.
30. Yeah, at 30, I think it's a little high for me, but at $10, it's completely worth it. And I don't see why. There's a lot of games on Steam that get positive feedback. I don't see anything particular why that game would be panned, other than maybe the exclusivity issues. And we're just in a society now where people love to stick to their laurels and will will pan a game or just not buy a game over, some politics or crap like that, which sucks. I just want to play games.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand I kind of understand some of the politics and stuff if you really want to get into that. But the thing is, I think people that want to get into that, then they have to like, if you don't want to be a hypocrite, if you want to have the advantage of being able to say, well, I'm not a hypocrite, then you really got to follow through with everything in your life as well. Otherwise, you're just kind of not being hypocritical about this one thing, but then everything else, I don't know. Anyway, I was going to go back to this Steam page. There's some other deals. Pavlov is $6. That game goes on sale a lot. It's normally 10, but now $6. Brookhaven $4. I think that is a deal of a deal. Cloudborne is $1.50. That's 90% off. I didn't really like it, but for $1.50, if you're bored, it could be something to screw around with a little bit. It's funny because you look at the pictures of Cloudborne, it actually looks like a really cool game if you were only judging it on the screenshots. Okay, I'll see. Oh, Zombie Riot is $2. That's 90% off. Zombie Riot, not too shabby.
Never played that one.
Really? It's very basic, but $2. It's always, $2. Battle Dome. Battle Dome is $2 right now. You ever play Battle Dome?
Nope.
Battle Dome reminded me of playing like Halo 3, I think it was, on like Xbox 360, playing multiplayer Halo 3. It kind of reminded me of that slightly. The question is anybody still playing it? I'm sure there's still some dedicated people that just play it forever. There's a ton of stuff on sale. I'm just trying to see what jumps out at me. Electronauts is half off. That's $10. I know people were talking about the Halloween thing. I'm just looking at what Paranormal Activity, half price. It's $15 down from $30. I've never finished it.
I think that's that it's not so much of a game. I think it's worth $15. It's not very gamey, but you do have hand presence, and you can pick a vase up off of a table and go ooh. It doesn't necessarily make for great entertainment, but some of their set pieces and some of the way they play with the visuals and do the jump scares is really well done. I think they're buying into that whole paranormal model that they base those movies off of.
The Talos Principle VR is 50% off. It is $20. That's a great game.
Definitely worth it.
Zion is $5. This is this kind of like retro-y Zaxxon style shooter that's very pixelated. And I'm looking at the reviews. It's actually got positive on its reviews. It doesn't have a ton of reviews, but that's $5. I was always kind of interested in Zion. I think I might go ahead and grab that just because it looks kind of cool.
I was interested I saw Paradise had a video of it not too long ago. It reminds me of the Zortex 20XX or whatever. It isn't, you're not contained in that little spherical dome. It's scrolling through a level, but it seemed to me like it was the ship was handheld, like a handheld ship that you were navigating through the terrain. I could be wrong, but that's the way it looked in the video. It looked interesting. I'd like to check it out too.
Robinson the Journey is $7.50, and it has mixed ratings. Wow. Robinson, I might buy that because you know what? Here's some shameful on my part. I never finished Robinson. I rented that. I gameflied it, and I didn't finish it, and I sent it back. Invisible Hours is $12. I mean, god damn, there's just tons of good things to buy right now.
Probably worth it.
Narcosis, didn't you really like this? This is $6.80.
It's you got to have a stomach because it's all smooth walking, which I think I played in early 2017, so it's been almost 2 years now. I guess I hadn't adapted the lead stomach, so I could only play it in about 30-minute burst. But yeah, if you have your VR legs, I think it's a pretty good game. I don't know. It's hard to think of where it would stand up right now compared, a year and a half later. But I thought it was good at the time.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, there is a lot of stuff on sale. Theseus is $5. It's a great time for somebody that is brand new to VR to come in. You know what I should probably do is like write a little article on VR game rankings about all these great deals. But it's funny because like I wouldn't even know to like check all of this. I would have no idea that there would be this many good deals going on so many different games. I mean, if I had to spend $100 on all these games that are on sale, I could get Primordian is on sale. It's $8. It's 60% off for Primordian, which I think Primordian, when you're just in that jungle and it's an avatar jungle, and when you first fight those guys that come after you, and it's like a John Woo movie, it goes slow motion, zzz, and dude, Primordian in brief spurts is a very impressive game for, brief spurts. Mm-hmm. $8. Just seeing what else, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. Is there any other major news stories that you've seen, Steve? I actually haven't checked the news much today.
Yeah, I'll say I haven't checked either. I'm sure we can find something to talk about.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to do originally, what I was going to do for today's show is I was going to talk about Home Sweet Home a little bit. We did. I didn't get that far in it, so I don't have much to say. I would say pass at the $30 price. I just got to be honest and say that. If it was $9.99, I'd probably be like, yeah, for Halloween, that's a great game. If it was $14.99, I'd be like, maybe. I mean, I need to play it more. I've barely scratched it.
Yeah, there's a large enemy, and I think it goes on for a pretty big clip. Like, I think there's a lot of mileage out of it. When I was looking into the game, there was several YouTubers who played the flat, because you can play it flat as well, and they they would have 8, 9, 10 gameplay videos of where they were going through the game. So I don't know how long it is, but based on that, it seems like it's at least 5-6 hours long. So to me, that's worth the normal Steam price of $16.99. I still think it's a hold on the PlayStation $30 price.
Yeah. I mean, the flat version, that's the other factor. They might be, and then also the GameStop situation, because can you look it up and see what GameStop is selling that for if you get an opportunity? I'm curious if they're selling it for $29.99. That might kind of force their hand to have the digital version be $29.99 as well.
Yep, $29.99. Now you can buy it pre-owned for $24.99.
Okay, but yeah, that's probably
rewards member $22.49.
I haven't stepped into a GameStop in I don't know how long, dude. And the only reason I ever go to a GameStop anytime now is because my kid has to buy like a Xbox headset or something, and he won't freaking wait for Amazon or somebody to ship it. Hey, here's some news. Zero Caliber VR now with Oculus Touch support. And so I will give this another try now that it actually has Oculus Touch support, because honestly, I was dropping my gun every other second. I was dropping clips. I don't know. I couldn't freaking hang with that.
Yeah, I don't feel like I fought the controls. I remember in the beginning of the game, it's trying to tell you how to do something, and it's showing Vive controllers. So I feel like they had the Oculus controls in there, but they just didn't have all the images and the descriptors and everything done. So maybe they it's a little more clear, but I didn't feel like there was controls issues. Now there are actual polish issues with the controls, but like it wasn't a case like with Doom VFR on the Rift or something where it was literally unplayable.
Yeah, no, it's playable. It's certainly playable. It's a bit janktacular, but I mean, I'm sure if you have a Vive, everything's fine with it. But I did feel like the controls were a bit off. Organ Quarter is 50% off. It's $12.49. Now you compare that to like Brookhaven being $4, and it seems expensive. But I'm a big fan of Organ Quarter. For me, Organ Quarter, I'm not going to say that Organ Quarter is a great game, But what I am going to say about Oregon Quarter is, for some reason, that environment, just the whole, like, it really transported me to another place. I felt like I was in another place, a very bleak, horrible, just a dreadful place, a dreary place, like a real bad dream.
They did very good with that environment, and you can tell they were very limited as a development studio, or maybe it was just a guy or two. I'm not sure, but if they had money, if someone, if Konami said, look, we want you to here's $5 million, make something really good. Like, I think they could flesh that out and that feeling and do something pretty amazing. I couldn't help but feel playing the game. I liked it, but I couldn't help feel the financial and the size of the studio in terms of how many people working for them. I felt all those constraints while playing it, but I think they got a good foundation.
Yeah. For me, it was just the vibe, man. The vibe was there. Okay, some people are talking about Primordian in chat. Paradise Decay says Primordian is a one-man show and ex-Blizzard artist. And, man, that guy, much love. He actually came on to our show one day, and I was just like, dude, you're killing it out there. He's working on, I believe, an Oculus Quest game as well, I'm pretty sure. Or he has an Oculus Quest development system or something like that. Main Fan says Primordian is weird, looks great, but feels weird. What do you say to that, Steve?
I'm kind of with Main Fan. It does. I have no interest to go back and play Primordian, and it's a shame because the first feeling you have is, holy crap, this place is amazing. Graphically knocked it out of the park, which, to Paradise Decay's point, it makes sense. And it's an ex-Blizzard artist, doing his thing. But the actual game, like, it was something didn't hook me. Like, there wasn't the melee didn't feel very good. And I'm not going to overlook that, but there didn't seem to be much point. Like, what was I doing? I was just kind of walking around aimlessly through the world, and it was missing something. And I don't fully know how to put my finger on what it was that it was missing, but something was just not there.
I think, okay, I'll tell you what it probably needs some more different creatures to battle. You got those main guys, you battle them over and over again, and the first time you battle those guys and it goes into that slow mode, that slow motion mode, and the sound goes crazy, it is incredibly intense. I mean, it's a super intense experience, but it's one of those things, you've killed about 10 of those guys, you've experienced it now. Now you're just doing it over and over again. And for me, it kind of always felt like I could just wail like this, and I decapitate them and they're dead, and it just seems like, now I know they've made some changes. They've done some things. They've added another level. Chris Cox is saying they've added another level. Chris Gould says Primordian is a must buy. I still think it is a must buy at $8 from the standpoint. Phil Yarn says he's going to grab it for $8. Just purely like demo material. Like, if someone's coming over to your house, there's not too much more impressive experience you could have in just like a 10-minute burst than walking through the Primordian forest and having one encounter. For somebody that's never had it before, never experienced it before, they're going to look at that jungle and everything, and then they're going to have this experience. It's almost like you're in a sci-fi movie. I think it's one of the closest, but you do get bored of it real quick.
Main Fan says they added more creatures. I don't like the slow-mo. I also don't know what I'm doing or what I'm collecting. Amen. That's exactly, because you collect these orb things, and I'm sure it's supposed to have something to do with combat or something. And I had that exact feeling. I didn't know what the hell was going on other than walking around and fighting whatever enemies that came my way. But damn, it was beautiful to look at.
Chris Cox says they have added another level. Paradise is saying Primordian is still early access and only 1 of 5 is complete. Have you seen the new trailers? I saw a couple of them. Yeah, and he's saying he loves the new whip weapon. I actually have not tried that whip weapon. I haven't gotten back in there since the whip weapon was added. Main Fan says they added more creatures. Well, I know they have, because there's this one part where you get guns and then you start shooting some stuff a little bit. Like they have some flying creatures and stuff. But basically, if I had a suggestion for the developer, it's like, okay, this jungle thing looks super dope, but you need to mix it up. We need a snow level, you know? I mean, you know what I mean? They need a couple different environments, I think, and then also some other enemies and trying to mix. It's a lot to ask. It's one guy. I mean, he's doing a damn good job.
Yep. You're not hating on the guy. Like he's carried a load in that game that most single people don't have to carry. So yeah, I don't want to come off like I'm throwing shade or hating on the game. I appreciate, you know, I describe it a lot like Little Big Planet or something. It's like a game that I appreciate and I respect. I just don't like it.
Okay,
you know?
Check this out, Steve. Alien Isolation, $10. $10, 75% off.
No question, completely worth it.
And you can get it with a huge amount of DLC for $12.50. For $2.50 more, you basically get like all the DLC. I don't have any of the DLC. But you know what? I never finish. I don't buy DLC. You know why, Steve? Because I never finished the original damn game. You know? Yep. But that is a great deal. And that's, you want a good horror game for VR? Grab yourself Alien Isolation. Okay. I haven't even gotten to the point where, like, I've seen the alien. I got to the point where the alien was, but I haven't even seen those robot guys. Like, I didn't even get to the robot guy part.
Yeah, those things are creepy in their own way. It's not as intense as the alien because you can actually get into a little combat with the android robot things. I need to get back to it because I got just past maybe an hour and a half after coming across those robots. So I don't know what the game does after that. I built a new PC and I lost my save, and Gary sent me his save, but now it's been like 8 months. It's just hard to jump back in the middle. I may just start from the beginning.
It's a huge game too. It's like a 25 gigger or something like that. Did you hear about this Tetris? I'm over on the PlayStation VR subreddit just checking out some of the titles there. And Tetris Effect, did you hear about this? Like there's going to be a demo, I believe, starting maybe November 1st or something, or no, November 4th, I think. And it's only going to be available for a couple of days, and then that's it. And then also it's going to self-destruct. So you got to play the demo within those couple of days.
November 1st to November 4th?
Or it might be...
basically this coming weekend. No.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, this is just talking about Tetris Effect, but that's what I heard about the demo. It's going to be barely there. What did you think about the Red Dead Redemption rumors? Did you see that little file that was in the companion app?
I saw them, and I'm convinced that everybody is playing with VR, and I'm convinced that Rockstar, that they were toying around with it, but I don't think it means anything's coming. Like seeing some files, and it could also be that they used some tool or some plug-in piece of software that just automatically creates certain directories and things when you install it. So it could be they've never done anything with Red Dead Redemption in relation to VR or to Oculus, and it could just be they bought some software, some asset, database, and it just created the directory or something. So it doesn't mean anything until they announce anything. And if they did, it's probably going to be some tacked on like mode, right? It's not going to be Red Dead Redemption 2, the full game in VR. And if it's some mode, it'll be a stand in one spot Wild West shooter or something.
Well, I think if there was something Red Dead Redemption 2, I think it would be the full game, because I think they would take that first person version and somehow jerry-rig it to work in VR, you know, like kind of like Resident Evil 7 had as a first-person mode, right? And so they converted it to VR. I would think they could do the same thing. I think it would be very expensive. I mean, one of the things I was thinking is, because it said Oculus, like what if I told you this rumor that Oculus paid 2K Games $20 million to make a special VR mode of Red Dead Redemption 2 that would be exclusive to Oculus for 6 months. Is that believable?
No, I don't know. I'm too close to it, right? Like maybe the people in chat can answer that. Like it wouldn't be believable to me because I just pay too much attention to this crap. But for some people, yeah, I could see that being a headline
Oops.
on Upload VR or something. But
But
yeah,
would
I
I?
just don't see it. I
Yeah.
wish you were right though. Like bring it on. I know Red Dead Redemption, so I would put that in the same category as I do with Skyrim and Fallout. These were all games I didn't like prior to VR, but somehow now in VR I like them all. Like and I don't know if it's because VR makes them different because you're able to become those central characters better, or if it's because I'm so starved for AAA content that anything with a AAA flavor comes to VR, I'm all about it. It might be the latter, I think.
Yeah, I'm switching up. I'm gonna grab a different trailer real quick because I forget about these trailers and then they run for like 25 minutes and people are probably like, God, dude, change the damn trailer. And I should have some little noise going on in the background, but I just don't want to blow everybody away. But if you were in Oculus's situation, they have this money that they're throwing at different things. They're obviously throwing a hell of a lot of money at Ted Price of Insomniac. Jason Rubin and Ted Price are very good friends, and he's throwing a lot of money Ted Price's way. And for the most part, it's been money well spent. Insomniac Games has done well for them, and Stormlands looks really good and all of that. But why not take some of that money and throw it at one of these flat games that we would never get in VR otherwise? But couldn't you tempt a company like Rockstar by saying, dude, we will give you $20 million to have a to have a VR version of Red Dead Redemption 2 exclusive on our platform for, say, 1 year. $20 million is a lot of money. So let's just say they said 1 year. If you're Rockstar Games, don't you think to yourselves, God, it might cost us like $35 million to really make a VR version, but you know what? This would give us a chance to kind of start working in VR just in case. I think all these major companies, they do have to take a defensive measure and make work a little bit on VR, maybe work a little bit on AR, because you just never know where the industry is going to go. You can't get caught flat-footed, right?
I agree with you. I think the values would be different because $20 million would pay a whole hell of a lot of people. I don't think, respective to what it takes to create a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, like all the effort that goes into there, I think it would only be a very small, relatively small sliver of that total effort to make it available in VR. You're not redoing any of the voice acting. You're not redoing any of the art, the assets, the story, the graphics. All you would do is just kind of dial in the camera, which becomes the VR player. So I think they could do that. I don't know what those dollar amounts would be. Maybe it's 10 million, maybe it's 5 million. I don't know where it makes sense. But I think you're right in the sense that stuff should be happening because I think yesterday you pulled up and you were talking about the Steam numbers and how was it Upload or whomever extrapolated out from the Steam hardware sales. And if you look at those numbers and let's give it a margin of error, let's say those numbers are 50% wrong, plus or minus 50%. That's still abysmally low in terms of adoption.
That's
so for 20 million bucks, like Oculus would be crazy. Like they're not going to get that payback. And it's not even going to be enough to move the needle because the market has already had that happen. The Red Dead, oh my God, I'm completely blue. The Red Dead Redemption is we've had Fallout, we've had Skyrim, we've had some of these games, and those are really big games that have been VRified. People can complain about the quality of the ports. Everyone likes Skyrim, Fallout, not as much, but those big games have been VRified and it hasn't translated to millions of people running out and buying HTC Vives or Oculus Rifts.
Yeah. Chris Cox in chat says Anthony's figures are way off. And sure, they could be way off. Chris, what would be your figure? For example, Chris, you're the CEO of Oculus right now. You got to spend some big money to buy a big game, what do? Do you go to Epic Games and do you say, like, what is the most valuable property that you could possibly put into VR right now? What would move the needle most? Grand Theft Auto 5 VR? Would that move the needle more than anything else? Would Fortnite VR move the needle more than anything else? What would move the needle more than anything? I would say Grand Theft Auto 5.
So would I, because that's still in the charts. Fortnite's amazing and successful, and I think recently they hit 25 million or so, which is just unheard of in VR land. But GTA is like, it's still in the top 10, like on a very regular basis. How long has it been since GTA 5 released? So it would have to be that game. Like, I can't think of anything more. It wouldn't be my pick, but I think it would be the pick that would make the most noise.
And Chris Cox says it wouldn't be 35 million to add VR support. Well, it would depend. If I'm not talking about adding support like Fallout 4, where you can't actually like open drawers and you don't have like legit hand presence and all that. I'm talking about like if they actually put in legit hand presence, which that would make it a real. They probably wouldn't do that. That would have to be built from the ground up VR. But yeah, I don't know. I think, GTA 5 probably would be the property you'd want. How much would you have to throw at Take-Two Games to guarantee that?
I couldn't. Like, it would just be too much of a wild guess. I'm not inside on enough of these studios. But if you factor each developer, right, each employee, and wherever they're based, I'm not sure. But let's say if they're based somewhere in the United States, a professional person is going to cost the company $100,000 a year. You get salary, benefits, like just call it an even $100,000. And you got 10 people, and it takes them a year. That would be $1 million. So if the effort is 50 people for 2 years, I don't know what the effort is, and that's kind of the big question mark. But I would think that some of these companies would be interested if they can get the effort covered, right? 2K can say, like, we don't need to make money on this deal, but so long as we don't have any risks sitting out there, and we have everything to gain by gaining this development experience and nothing to lose because Oculus is footing the bill, that would be super awesome. And I think that's what's happened for these last few years and what Oculus is thinking by funding some of these games. But for whatever reasons, it hasn't lit fire, and I don't know why.
Kev Gretz says Grand Theft Auto 5 is actually 5 years old on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And 4 years old on Xbox One and 4 years old on PC. Yet it would still be the number one. I honestly believe it would be the number one property. Because Fortnite, you would say Fortnite, but it would have to work perfect in VR. Like Fortnite, if it didn't work perfect in VR, it would be a major problem. Where I think Grand Theft Auto 5, I think just the experience of walking around that world, I think they could capture that. Like, I think they could do that right now. So I'm putting on a trailer here. Steve can't talk about it, but he's screwing around with it a little bit. Population 1 looks really good. That could be a hot game. I mean, that's trying to kind of be Fortnite for VR in a way. You can't say nothing about it, so I should probably just throw a different trailer on before you get in trouble.
I can't say a word.
Yeah. Let's see here.
But I mean, that much is known, though, that they're obviously kind of going after the Fortnite model a little bit. And I hope the game does well, but I can't say anything else.
Paradise Decay says, Fortnite is for kids, would not work in VR. No, dude, all my teenage kids play is Fortnite. And it's for, it's definitely popular among kids, but I think it's popular among anybody under like 35 probably. And I'm sure there's plenty of 35-year-olds playing it as well. 2K did it with Borderlands. That's Paradise Decay checking in. Yeah, I mean, converting a game. I don't know if Sony paid money for that or if maybe 2K, their CEO is Strauss Zelnick. And I don't know if you remember this, Steve, but a long time ago, he talked a lot of major smack about VR. Of all the huge executives out there, he was the least bullish in VR of anybody. And he's probably coming across as a prophet now because, VR hasn't blown up yet. It hasn't forced the issue yet, right? and they've hardly done anything in VR. What have they done? They've done Carnival Games VR. They did well, LA Noire, of course, was their big entry in there. Have they done anything else? I mean, 2K Games has not really messed with VR much.
I thought LA Noire is Rockstar. Is 2K?
Well, 2K Games owns Rockstar. I mean, it's under their brand, yeah.
Yep. I've never been a big like Rockstar fan, so I just I don't know. I don't track their stuff as close. I think, you know, wait, what was your question?
I don't even remember now, but you know what? There's an interesting comment in chat. Kevin Mars says, be able to drive a car if you have a driving wheel set up. Imagine, I don't know if you've ever heard my argument, Steve, about the VR chair. You have a VR chair in your room, right? And it's running on a special track, almost like a railroad track. And so it's way out of your play space. You're playing your game, and then, you're playing No Man's Sky, and you're wandering around the planet, but now you're back into your cockpit. Boom, you activate the VR chair. Zzz, comes right in. You just sit down. It's perfect for you. And that would be ideal for Grand Theft Auto, wouldn't it? Because switching from car to foot, that's going to be a little herky-jerky.
Yeah, I've heard you make that argument, and I think it would be super cool. And we've had people comment on VR Roundtable episodes saying, well, they think that we don't understand Steam VR and that we don't understand Vive tracking or something, because they say, well, you can do that with Vive trackers, and it's like, no, you can't, because the game developers aren't doing it. Yes, I could buy a tracker and I could screw it to a chair where I have my steering wheel mounted, but if LA Noire doesn't like pick up on that tracker and actually make that a feature in the game, then no, we can't do it. So it's one of those ideas that is totally doable with the technology we have right now. It's just not being done because the developers aren't seeing enough of a reason to justify it or something.
Hussein X says third-person Grand Theft Auto would be easier to port than first-person. But, dude, I want to be standing on the street. I want cars coming up to me. I want to see people walking. That's the dream of the dream. Like, we haven't really experienced... Have we experienced any VR world that was anywhere similar to Grand Theft Auto with people just walking around? I guess it would be LA Noire, right? Did you play any LA Noire where you actually got into? I never got that game working. I never even saw that part.
I played it real briefly. I couldn't get hooked with it because you'd play a mission and then it would kind of just fade and send you. So it wasn't quite open world, just a seamless continuation. It was open-ish mixed with missions that would then so it never really grabbed me. And it was also around the time of Fallout and the time where we were selling our Vives, and that ended up being a big thing that people cared about us selling our Vives. And so it was just too much noise going on at the time that I just never got back to LA Noire. From what I understand, it works now better on the Rift. If I think I'm remembering that. Main fan or somebody will correct me in chat, I'm sure.
Hey, once you've had a full day with that Samsung Odyssey Plus, you should come on here and tell us what your first initial impressions are.
If I'm home, I will. I got my notification that it shipped, but then when I clicked the tracking thing, like the post service hasn't, and it's coming the postal service, not UPS or FedEx, which would be far more reliable. But they don't update their tracking information till like midnight or something. So I'm already hitting that button and trying to see where my Odyssey Plus is, because I'm hoping it comes tomorrow. It's supposed to be delivered tomorrow, and I just have this fear that it's gonna not be delivered till Friday or something.
It was funny on the show yesterday when you were talking to Sebastian and you were like, no, can you really help me out? No, like, I'm serious. Can you really put in a good word for my pre-order? Like an extra note on the pre-order number?
It's like, I feel like I've given them money now, right? So I've paid for it. So it's like, if I could somehow trade them, just me talking about it to jump the line, it seems like it's a worthwhile trade for them. Like, they got nothing to lose in the situation. So yeah, it's worth trying, I guess. It's the name of the game.
It's kind of funny, like the whole YouTuber, influencer, whatever you want to call it, right? This whole deal. a lot of times we try to get free things from certain companies because why not? If you could possibly get something free. I've never gotten any large hardware item of any kind free, but it would be awesome to get one. But like I bought an Oculus Go recently, not too long ago, and I was thinking, man, it would be nice if Oculus had a program where, okay, maybe they're not going to give me an Oculus Go, but maybe I could get like a 30% discount on an Oculus Go as being somebody that, is trying to, like, it's either all or nothing, you know what I mean? Either you have 20,000 subs or 50,000 subs and then they might give you something for free, or you just don't get anything. There's like no kind of discount. Be nice.
Yeah, I don't know what else goes into it. I think there's more than just subs. There may be a willingness to, say certain things, or maybe a willingness to never be overly critical. Yeah, I'm not sure. A couple of guys are asking, Mainfan and Scorpion are asking about Pimax being shipped. Mainfan, yes, they did. I paid through it through PayPal for one. I was not going to trust putting my credit card into their website under any circumstances. So I did pay through PayPal, and PayPal did hit my Amex. So in my mind, I have two layers of protection. Amex has always stood behind me. And PayPal generally, is slighted towards the buyer. So I did that, and it has hit my Amex. So yes, they've charged. And then the other question is, when do you think it'll be shipped? I'm not counting. They're saying they're going to get all Kickstarters fulfilled. They should have them fulfilled around Christmas or by the end of the year. I'm right on the other side of the Kickstarter. So once the Kickstarters are fulfilled, I should be in that first batch. I'm going to assume right now February, but knowing that may slip to March or April. It'll be what it'll be, and I just wanted to put my name on one because for anybody else that decides they want to get one, you might be looking at this time next year. I just didn't want to keep letting the time slip and be without. I was envious and jealous, I guess.
That's the situation that I'm going to be in. I'm probably not going to be getting a 5K plus before like July or August of next year if I'm lucky or something. But I don't know. It's dude, this is such an interesting hobby. Just there's so many different directions you can throw money at. And I always talk about it like maybe we should have been stamp collectors or something. It's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, it's stupid. I think did I really need to buy the Odyssey Plus? And I never really got into it. We had such a packed show yesterday. So there was a lot of things that I kind of thought I'd say and it never just came out and never got to it. But my reasons for getting an Odyssey Plus were I love the Rift, and I love the TP cast. I have my TP cast dialed in so well, and it's working so reliably. But when I want to play a sit down game, you can't really put the pack in your pocket and sit down. It's uncomfortable. So I'm like, I want a wired headset for when I'm playing sit down. I'm not going to go through the hassle of undoing the cable that goes into the Rift and popping the face cover off and all that. So one of my motivations were I'll buy a sit down headset. And if I'm going to buy a sit down headset, I might as well, go for something that has a higher resolution. I think the Odyssey Plus, until the Pimaxes are readily available, I think the Odyssey Plus has a chance to be the best looking headset on the market that tethers to a PC. So that's kind of why I went that direction. But I'm not even 100% sure I'll keep it, because if I get it and if it's too soft because of this anti-SDE thing, I'm gonna pack it up and send it right back.
Interesting. Yeah. Man, I do want to try that headset out. I might have to check out my window. I have a Windows store or whatever. It's in Rockland. It's like a 45-minute drive. But if they ever have that out for demo and I can be absolutely sure that I'm demoing that version, I do want to see that, because I believe something like that could really work. I think that the perceived doubling of that PPI, it sounds like hocus pocus, but I'm telling you, I could imagine putting it on and being like, wow, this really worked nice, And then it's just a matter of if those controllers, how often are you going to notice that those controllers are kind of crap?
Yeah, and I'll see when I bought that Dell Windows MR unit this time last year when Windows and Mire was rolling out. Like the controller, surprise, I didn't necessarily like the controllers themselves too much. I liked them better than Vive ones, but they were nowhere near like in the league with Oculus Touch. But what surprised me is how well they actually relied on the IMU, and they did things. You could pull an arrow from your back, and it worked. Like a lot of people think that they don't understand that they think that when your hands leave your view, and that's not the case. The view that you have in the headset isn't the field of view that the cameras on the headset have. So like even though you can't see your hands, the cameras can still pick them up to a wider point. So the tracking, it's not as good as Oculus Touch. It's certainly not as good as Steam VR, but it's not so bad that things are unplayable. And I'd have to say it's probably way the hell better than PlayStation Move.
Kevin Mars in chat is saying TPcast sucks for me. What did you do? He says my TPcast works like SHITT.
So, Kevin, like the big thing that I did was I did Open TPcast. I bought a second network adapter, so I completely separated the TPcast network and my internet network. And then I had a router that I was no longer using that I had a custom firmware installed. I had switched from our cable internet to AT&T fiber gigabit. And so I had the spare router that had a custom firmware and it was really dialed in. So doing all that, like I just have it working well. Like I get maybe a slight little frame hitch once or twice each play session, just the little things here and there that remind you that they're wireless. But compared to how most people describe it, like my TPcast experience is so much different than what a lot of other people say. And I'll say it's on the Rift. I do think TPcast for the Vive, because it does that whole green line bullshit and all that, like it's probably significantly worse experience than what I have. And then lastly, I was very curious, and I never said this on VR Roundtable, but I'll bring it up at some point. A lot of people say you lose FOV with the TPcast, and I never felt like I lost a lot of FOV, but I was surprised by how much I did lose because I used that app where you can actually measure FOV. And with my Rift wired, I get exactly dead on 90 degrees field of view. With the TPcast, I get 80 degrees field of view. So it is a 10 degrees field of view lost. And the thing is I don't feel it, like, because I can't A/B it, that quickly. So it's one of those things that you notice something's a little different. It's like getting a new pair of glasses or something, but you don't. To me, it wasn't so readily. Obviously, I always thought it wasn't as much as 10 degrees. So there's that. So we now have a number. It's a 10-degree field of view loss. And I was measuring that by smashing my eyes all the way up to the headset with the faceplate off. I want to make sure I didn't have any FOV that was hidden. And yeah, that's the story. So I'll start spreading that out on Reddit and everything when people talk about it.
Yeah, this trailer I have running on the screen right now is Contractors VR. And Phil Yarn, I believe, was talking about this very early when we first started this show. This is by Caveman Studio, I believe, Contractors VR. And I think it's going to be entering early access in December. And is this a race or what? There are so many different shooter games that are very similar to each other, that are all going for this prize. They're all going for that Onward Pavlov thing, because both Onward and Pavlov have been very successful, I think, for both of those companies. Downpour Interactive and Dave Kills, they've done very well with those two games, and everybody else wants a little piece of the action. It's funny, Steve, we didn't talk at all about Wardust. Have you ever played Wardust?
I keep forgetting to.
Oh, okay.
That's why, yeah. So we just got to make sure we get it on a show note. That way it kind of forces all the other guys to check it out.
Yeah, I know it's on the VRGR account, so it makes it a pain, but it's worth trying, man. I mean, you'd probably really like it. I should probably go back in there and give it a try, but it's the same thing for me with all these games. If I actually get out there with real people that know what they're doing, I am dead in fractions of seconds. So it's just hard.
Whatever
me.
happened to? There was a game in the beginning of the year that looked good, and I think it was coming to Oculus, Steam, and PlayStation. Arvo, something like that. Like, what that's
Yeah.
supposed to be? I haven't heard anything about it, but it would just blend in right there with all these other games: Zero Killed, Zero Caliber, Arvo, whatever it's called, War Dust. Like, and I know they're all different. I'm not saying they're all exactly the same, but they're all kind of go for that same itch and are trying to scratch a similar itch. And I don't know. I don't know if there's room for all that in a market as small as VR.
Yeah, and Wardust, they got lucky because they kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of people jumped on it. It got a little bit of hype. Look at what happened to Zero Killed, man. And is there that big of a difference? Well, I mean, you haven't played Wardust. It's a different game. It's more of this like, Battlefield type of thing. But Zero Killed, because I got into the Zero Killed beta or whatever before it officially came out, and there was nobody there. It was empty, and that's probably why it's a disaster. But the graphics were beautiful. The gun sounds were really good. Alvo, I think it is, Conrad Lawrence. He's saying Argo. No, there is a game called Alvo. And, Alvo's one of these games where there's a number of games that we've heard about for a couple of years that have just, supposedly they're still in development, but you just haven't heard from them for a long time. Conrad Lawrence says, yeah, War Dust is very fun. Scorpion 2 says Contractors looks good. Yeah, it does look pretty sweet. Of course, Zero Caliber looked really sweet, and it's still pretty good. I haven't done the super sampling. That's one thing I still haven't screwed around with yet.
You definitely, because it's basically your performance is what it's going to be. Your CPUs, your CPU, your RAM's your RAM. To start leveraging your 1080 Ti is just start throwing some super sampling, because that won't hit your CPU, it won't hit your RAM. It's just purely a GPU muscle thing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I've been avoiding it because I thought, well, maybe I need to see what's going on first before I start doing that.
Now, because any physics or anything that's really being impacted, the frame rate by your CPU is staying the same. All that's happening is the GPU is rendering the higher resolution. So, and you're gonna have to spend some time learning Oculus Tray Tool, and this is one of the downsides from Oculus to Steam, is Steam kind of gives you all the super sampling stuff like right there. With Oculus, you gotta use Tray Tool, which is a third-party app. You can do it with some of the files in Oculus, but you'll want to use Tray Tool, and you'll have to learn that. Like, it's just not as straightforward as it is on Steam.
Yeah, okay, looking back at chat, MS Can, now this is a while back. I had to scroll back to get this, but he had an interesting comment. He says he picked up a regular Odyssey. He likes it, but it didn't fit well on his big meathead. And I thought that was interesting because, you know what? I wonder if I'd be in a similar problem, and it might be even worse with the Odyssey Plus, because I've seen these comparison pictures with the Odyssey Plus, and it seems like it got smaller. It does have a different face box than the first Odyssey, but the overall headset almost seems smaller. So it's weird when we get these different headsets. Sometimes we're not thinking about, like, it has a set IPD or something, like the Oculus Go, it has a set IPD. You have to kind of live with the IPD it has. Luckily, the Samsung does actually have the IPD adjustment, but like Lenovo and all those, it's the only one that has it, right?
It's my understanding, yeah. And I don't know. I'm blessed, I guess, in that way. I have a small head. I can fit my glasses in my Rift without issues, which most people can't. My IPD is 61, so I'm on the small side there. I can go into all the VR headsets. Like, now, I trade places with you because I have to deal with glasses, and that's a pain in the ass. But outside of that, like, I'm lucky in that I don't really have to worry about a headset fitting or anything like that, or even a headset like the Go. It's not too far from my sort of nominal IPD that I can just kind of go into all these headsets without worrying about it. I feel for the people with the big domes that have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the IPD adjustment, it's usually not too bad. The Sony PlayStation VR, it's funny, it doesn't have it has like a fake IPD adjustment, right? But that headset just feels so nice. I mean, they did such a good job with that original design, It's really like a pillow on my head. Let's see. Was there anything in chat anybody was talking about that you wanted to comment on?
Yeah, they're still talking about TP cast. I'm not going to drag it down. I can go into the technical weeds with them, but I don't think it's makes for good entertainment.
Yeah. So, actually speaking of the TP cast, but just life with wireless, like you've been using this now for how many months?
Since July. So whatever that is, 4 months, 5 months. Yeah.
So you're in a wireless world. I mean, well, you talked about sitting down, like that's a problem. So like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, or Pixel Rip 1989.
Yeah, so what you have the little cable that goes to the little battery box. So when I played Hellblade, I would take it and I would lay it on my lap, like I'm sitting in the chair, and the cable, like PlayStation VR days, but then this box would lay in my lap. And it's completely doable. It's not like you can't overcome it. It's just kind of an annoyance, and there's no need to be wireless when you're sitting there. So the idea is if I could have two headsets, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play Lucky's Tale, and I just grab the Odyssey, right? I'm gonna play Beat Saber, just grab the Rift. I don't know that it'll actually work out that way, but that was sort of my idea around it.
I look forward to it. My dog, I don't know if anybody can hear my dog, but he's barking like crazy. But I look forward to a day where future VR headsets build a wireless transmitter into the back of the whatever goes on the back of your head. You know what I mean? Like actually have that physically built in. So you go to you buy your VR headset. It doesn't come with the wireless adapter, but it's got the receiver. Basically, it doesn't come with the transmitter, but it has a receiver already built in, so you could either be wireless or non-wireless, and you could add that extra option later for like another $100 or $200 or whatever.
Of course, that comes at a cost. A is the cost, and I think when we were talking yesterday about the Oculus patent. So like if the back of the Oculus where it kind of makes the Vive symbol, where it sits in the back, and they have the tracking LEDs in there. They could put the wireless the receiver say in there, but the problem is it gets occluded very easy, and that's why I think they were looking at that patent where they can relay in beamform. So if it's not on top of your head, and it's not when you move around your room, like you want to have that line of sight. So if they're able to put a relay or some sort of device that kind of will when you occlude it, because they know with the tracking sensors, they know when you're going to occlude the wireless receiver, then they can use the relays to sort of beamform the wireless signal to it. So that might be kind of what they were thinking with that patent, and of course we don't know if it's ever going to happen.
But if they had a rigid head strap, right, that's going over your top like that, maybe they could just build it like to cover like the actual like antenna part of it or whatever would cover that whole top of your head, the rigid strap that's going back, and then maybe some of the electronics that are involved in it would be in the back part for weight. Like somehow figure out how to do that. I don't know. I think it would be awesome if it's like like the Oculus Rift 2, for example, okay, that doesn't exist according to Sebastian. No Rift 2 for you, folks. But let's just say there is, in some alternate universe, there's an Oculus Rift 2. What if it, like, everybody buys it and everybody has the potential for wireless? They just add this other option. It's already baked in, so there's no crazy weirdness you have to attach. Be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think they got to dial in the wireless technology as a whole. Right now, when we last talked about it, I kind of said I thought the Vive wireless would be the better solution, and I still think it is. But as we're seeing, that's not necessarily a slam dunk. There's actually benefits that the TP Cast has that the Vive solution doesn't. So I think there's a long way to go. Like both solutions are still tacked on, and if Vive or Oculus or whomever were to release hardware where it all came included, it would still have to be integrated in such a way that doesn't feel tacked on. And I don't know that the technology's there unless they're going to create the technology themselves, because even the Vive solution is still relying on WiGig and relying on technology that HTC didn't make. You know, they partnered with DisplayLink, partnered with Intel, and I just think there's a way to go for wireless. Is this consumer-friendly solution? I think it's going to stay for the time being with current headsets, and maybe even the next wave of headsets, whenever they come and whenever we call them the next wave. I think they're going to stay sort of this consumer unfriendly tacked on thing, especially with things like the Quest getting the focus. Like, you don't have to worry about wireless with the Quest.
Yeah. Prince Alexander in chat says, Anthony, get a new motherboard and CPU. Gotta bite the bullet. And Kristen Jensen says, go ahead, Anth. You're missing out on that sweet power. I think they were commenting back when I was talking about the super sampling. Yep. Yeah, and you know what? I'm looking at that. I am actually considering that as, well, Black Friday is very close, right? So I figure the way I'm looking at it is, if I see something on Black Friday that's like, wow, I'd be saving I'm basically getting a completely free motherboard if I get this CPU, or there's some really nice little deal that's going on. I think I got to do it,
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if that's normally a thing, right? Because Black Friday anymore is like, buy this TV for, $84, and, buy this crock pot for $8. And it's like, I don't know if PC components really go into major Black Friday deals. But maybe Cyber Monday, maybe that's the more the Newegg's jam or something like that. Maybe Cyber Monday.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Newegg's. I'm thinking of Newegg, and I'm also thinking of Fry's, because I do have a Fry's near me, and see, Fry's is like the poor man's version of Micro Center. Micro Center would be the dream. I would drive to San Jose, which is a long drive, but I'd probably already be in San Fran or something for something else, and I'd make a stop over in San Jose. I'd hit up the Micro Center. They always had deals on Intel CPUs, and then they always had motherboard combos you could package with them, and they would have good prices on memory as well. So you would kind of go there to get those main pieces, and I would do it every time. Now I have to go to Fry's. Now the thing about Fry's is they will have some big time Black Friday things, but there are a million people waiting in line, and it's like sometimes the line is literally like 8 or 9 hours long to get to the register, and it's like, ooh, do I want to spend an entire 8-hour day sitting in line? I just don't think I can do it. But what I could do is you wait until all the early Black Friday drama is over with, and you hit up the store like 40 minutes before they close. And just because sometimes they still have some of the deals left over that people haven't, some combos left over that are still left, and then maybe grab it there. And Newegg on Cyber Monday or whatever. Well, we've been going for a super long time. I think I better bounce out of here. This has definitely been a crazy little episode of the VR Game Rankings daily vlog. Certainly unconventional, to say the least. And you know what? Tomorrow, here's the good news, guys. Everything that I was planning to do, I was planning on talking about all these Steam VR games that are flying way under the radar, and maybe they should be flying way under the radar, but I thought it would be cool to take a look at some of the trailers, take a look at their Steam pages. Some of these games are going to be coming out in the next couple months, and I think it's just kind of cool to follow some hidden games no one's talking about and see if any of them develop into anything. So we'll cover a little bit of that tomorrow, and then whatever other news we have as well.
Gerard O'Hara said, I don't know if TP Cast is dangerous, but Steve had a full head of hair before he used it.
Yeah.
Not true.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and bounce out of here. I might as well grab my outro trailer, I guess. Be official about it and all. I don't even make new intro trailers anymore, hardly. Oh, man, my outro trailer is all off kilter here. Yeah, so that's going to do it, guys. It, of course, has been another episode of VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, all those kinds of things. Be sure to bounce over to VR Roundtable. Check out episode 101. We had Sebastian from MRTV. He has some controversial thoughts on that episode. I think it's quite interesting. So be sure to check that out. And Steve, thanks so much for joining me today. It was fun. This was cool. Even though it was crazy, it was super fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yep, that's what makes it fun. I like the relaxed atmosphere.
All right, yeah. So we'll have to smoke a blunt next time, like Elon Musk. All right, guys.
We'll
We'll
go
see
that
you.
far. See ya.